What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Spread the Positive podcast. I am your host, Trent Denson, founder of Spread the Positive and STP Productions, where our mission is to bring light to what's going right and to showcase and facilitate efforts that are making a positive impact in our local communities and beyond. Be sure to check us out, spreadthepositive.net. And also, if you're looking to get involved with the STP Podcast Network, please reach out and just check out all the amazing shows that are on the network. We continue to grow. We continue to build. Be part of the solution. Be part of what's going right. Welcome to the show.
Hey, my name is Brian Nell. I'm a mortgage loan officer with Primis Mortgage. I want to tell you that I absolutely love being a member of the Spread the Positive Network. It's such a great mission and helps bring so much positivity to our community. It's truly be a pleasure and a part of what they do. There are a lot of ways to navigate financing a home, and in markets like this, having the advice of a trusted local professional is key to making sure you get the right advice for your specific circumstances. Whether you're interested in the purchase of a new home, second home, or have a need for a refinance, I'd love to earn your trust. If I can help you nail your mortgage, call me at 615-243-3976 or visit nailyourmortgage.com.
Primis Mortgage is a subsidiary of Primis Bank, a member FDIC, equal housing opportunity. As always, all loans are subject to approval. Primis Mortgage, NMLS number 1894879.
Huge shout out to the newest member of the STP 1200 Club, Mr. Sean Moran with Red Barn Financial. Are you seeking a financial advisor who shares your values? Sean Moran at Red Barn Financial offers faith-based financial guidance. We'll help you make sound financial decisions that align with your Christian beliefs. Call Sean today at 615-619-6919 for more information. Big thank you to you, Sean, for supporting the 1200 Club. Be sure to reach out to Sean. He is amazing at what he does and an amazing resource for all things financial advising. Thanks again, Sean. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Spread the Positive podcast. I'm your host, as always, Trent Denson. Got a good friend, local legend, just all around staple in this community. My guy, Michael Murray. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man. It's great to be here today. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. So we've been talking about doing this for a minute. And actually, I say this a lot, but it's definitely overdue. So pleasure to have you in, pleasure to have you on. We got some new stuff you're working on that we're going to get into, but I typically like to take it back. Just tell us kind of who you are, early passions, kind of what shaped the greatness that is. So take us back to young Michael.
Young Michael, I'll try to make this quick. Grew up in Hendersonville, Tennessee, about an hour from here. Lived in Tennessee all my life. I'm a pretty avid sports fan, always has been. I think that's my dad's doing. He was an anti-UT fan, but ironically enough, would watch all the UT games. I think he secretly was a fan, but he wanted to see him get beat, but he's still watching. But anyway, he turned me on to sports pretty early.
Nice.
So I've always had a passion for anything competitive. I like to if it's board games or a actual sport game, you know. But I also just have a real passion for people, and always have. I mean, I just love people. I love people's stories. I love having relationships with people, and I love to think and hope that in some small way, being a part of whoever's lives I get to be a part of is a good thing for them. I know it is for me. So
right.
Hope that helps a little bit. Is that enough?
Yeah, man, that's perfect. I mean, that's perfect. Yeah, definitely a blessing to a lot of people, man, myself included. We've known each other for a while now, man. How long has it been? Like 5-6 years at least?
It's at least that long.
Yeah. Where did we first meet?
I think we met at some kind of networking group is where we probably connected at some point. And I don't know which one it was, but I know I think that's where we met first.
Yeah.
And then I actually, I'll go ahead and share this now. I took, golf lessons from you.
Yeah, man.
We played some golf together, and
that was fun.
I got to learn what not to do and what to do. So it was good. It was helpful.
That's awesome. We need to get back, man. I've been kind of on a hiatus from that, but I miss it. It's kind of getting back to that time of year. So hopefully you can ramp that back up with some folks. Made some progress that day. I feel like we made some good progress.
I agree.
Yeah.
I still remember some of the things you taught me, and I'm trying to implement them, except when I'm not doing that.
I feel you. It's you got to stay at it. That's for sure. But yeah, we've connected quite a few times, different capacities, and you were on 11th Hour with Michael Davis. That was I remember that recording back in the day. Shouts to Pastor Mike. He's a legend as well. Would love to get that show.
Love Michael Davis.
Me too, man. Y'all share that Cowboys fandom, right?
I don't know if it's fandom right now. It's more of grief and frustration. But yeah, I'm actually going to be here tomorrow, I think, to do something with Dave Wild.
Yeah, the Not My Plan pod. Super pumped for that too. Dave's man, he's been all over it. He's asked me approximately 11 million questions about this. I'm like, Dave, you just got to do it,
that's
man.
That's something Dave Wild I know.
Yeah, right. Shouts to Dave, man. He's awesome. The Not My Plan pod is really cool because we can that's probably a decent segue, right?
It probably is.
When is something not gone according to plan? I feel like 100% of people can share something to that effect. So anyway, let's stay on topic here.
Okay.
So you grew up here. I think when I first met you, you've been in sales a lot, business development a lot, ministry. So just kind of take us through the work career. Just a little.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have very many jobs growing up. I worked at a grocery store for 3 years. That paid nothing, but lived was close to my house. I worked at a Toys R Us during Christmas time. I don't know what I was thinking there. I wasn't thinking.
How was that?
It was terrible. It was awful. The hours were 3 to 11, except that wasn't what the hours were because we had to straight up the store. So about 2 a.m. I'd get to leave and go home. It was wonderful.
Man.
And then I worked at a Sam's Club, which I loved doing that. And then I went to college to finish out my degree, worked some odd jobs on campus, but felt the call of my life to ministry when I was 21, changed my major, and from there, I went to seminary and served in a couple of churches in the West Tennessee area. Then came here to Murfreesboro. That's what brought me here, was to be on staff at a New Vision here in town, and was there 8 years. And then speaking of not my plan, life happened, and I was out of ministry, out of marriage. It's just a terrible, dark time, and I won't go into all the details of that. But the Lord was. He did a lot of things in my life during that season of life that was very hard, and he put me back together for one thing. But from that, I got into. I worked at Nissan for a night shift job for a little while, which makes people laugh if they know me. I'm the most mechanical manufacturing guy in the world. Screwing in light bulbs is challenging for me at times if I don't screw it the right way. And then from that, when the YMCA was still open, I got a job there.
Okay.
As a program director over camps and sports, and
nice.
That led to U.S. Health Advisors finding my resume online. I guess I'd put it out there and forgot I had, and they saw my background and thought I'd be good in sales. Everybody always said I was a salesman. I don't know what they meant by that, but they said I was a good salesman. So I worked for about 4 or 5 years selling health and life insurance, and I actually did pretty well at it, to be honest with you, and had good support around me, and it just wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. I mean, I knew that, but I was in a season of trying to get back to my life together and stuff like that.
Feel that. I think that's actually when we met. It was around the U.S. Health Advisors time, and I know you were. It seemed like you were killing it. I mean, you were doing.
I was doing well. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about the Lord's favor is that he's. Even though I really wasn't walking the way I needed to be walking, he still blessed me in that time, and
that's awesome.
Which really kind of helped me get back to where I needed to be in a lot of ways. But yeah, I was doing really well at it, actually. Yeah. But it just got to where I knew it wasn't what I was supposed to do.
Not your plan, right?
Not my plan.
Not my plan.
We're already in the Dave's podcast, right? So that's good.
Yeah, we'll save some of that for Dave tomorrow.
Sure.
But so yeah, U.S. Health Advisors. What was the transition out of that?
Well, I just, of course, I got remarried back in 2017. Shout out to my wife, Autumn, and I know
Autumn.
You know Autumn, so
legend as well.
She's more of a legend than me. But I, about a year after we were married, I come home one day and she asked me why I looked so miserable. So I guess I gave that persona off, and I said, well, sit down for a second because you might want to sit down. I'm fixing to tell you. And
Boy.
I said, I really think I'm still supposed to be back in ministry, and I don't know what to do with that because I'm kind of scared of it myself and don't know what it looks like. I said, let's just walk for another year, pray another year, keep doing what we're doing for another year. And then a year later, I just came home one day and said, I'm done selling health and life insurance. I said, and so I just kind of started seeking out and searching out what was next for me. Met with my pastor, and from that, he opened up a door to a ministry that I had heard a little bit about, but didn't know much about it. Just it interested me.
Yeah, not to get, I don't know if this is off topic, or maybe we shouldn't cover it, but that was a big moment for y'all, right? We had a convo the other day.
It was a big moment for my wife more than me, because she was raised as a pastor's kid, and she was not going to be about that life, and didn't know that she wanted to walk that journey with me, but
that's
she
big, man.
Yeah, it was huge. Well, and that's really why in 2018 we took a year to not go forward with anything, because I needed her heart to be there and her mindset to be there, and a year later it was, but I think it had been very unwise for me to go, well, I'm going forward anyway, with or without you, obviously you're not going to do that.
Right.
So,
well, shouts to her I know that was a difficult thing for her to get behind, but I think that's a real testament to both of your faith and just having faith that you would be able to navigate that the right way. So I wanted to selfishly bring that up, because I think I'm glad you did. I think that's a really it's just a testament to both of y'all and your faith in one another and faith in obviously God and all that. So it's that's beautiful. I think that's so cool to just celebrate those times when it does work. And anyway, so what was next? What was that next step?
So the next step was, of course, I don't know when you want me to talk about the ministry. I'm trying to kind of leave it till we want to get into it.
Hey, let's get it.
But he introduced me to a ministry called Standing Stone Ministry, and I knew about a pastor in town who he and his wife had met with a guy from that ministry for about 7 or 8 months, maybe longer, and their marriage was reconciled. Of course, I was on the other side of that at this point. I wasn't, I was remarried and stuff like that. But that's all I knew about it. And so I have a stepdaughter. I call her my daughter, but she has spina bifida. She was having a major surgery at Vanderbilt Children's Hospital in October of 2019. So we were up there the day before just prepping her. We were going to spend the night there because the surgery was next morning. And so I had reached out to a guy named John Duvall at Standing Stone Ministry, who was local here, to meet with about the ministry. I shared my story. He shared about it, and I was hooked at that moment when I heard about it, with some reservations.
Sure.
But obviously very, very interested.
Yeah. Well, let's get into Standing Stone. That's what you're doing now. We had a conversation at Just Love about it. It's really awesome. Like, the whole concept is, some of the statistics you shared with me were staggering.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think on this podcast, one of the questions I would just ask anybody who'd be watching and listening is what has been impactful for you about anybody in ministry that you have known that has maybe cared for you, you've sat under in their congregation, who has personally shown interest in you, whoever. And if you're one of those people out there who has that, then when I talk about this ministry, you're just going to realize how important it is. I did not know about this in my dark season.
Sure.
Had I known this was out there for me, I don't know what would have happened. Obviously hindsight's 20/20.
Always.
But so Standing Stone Ministry, and let me back up and say this, when I asked that question, the reason why those kind of people probably impact people that are listening and watching today is because that person was in a good place. They were a healthy place. They were functioning at the level they needed to function as a minister. So to give that kind of care, to give that kind of leadership, they were able to do that. But the other side of that is there's a whole lot of people that are in ministry today who are lonely, depressed, whose families are in disarray, which that's a lot of America anyway, as far as dysfunction goes. But not only that, they don't feel like they have somebody they can talk to, a trusted confidant or friend that they can be vulnerable with or be real with or be raw with. and it's out there, and it's suicides out there with people in ministry. I mean, I can get into some dark numbers, but it's so the next question I would ask is, wouldn't it be great to know that people that in ministry are finding that health they need, and they're finding that relationship they need. So that's kind of what Standing Stone Ministry exists for. And you can ask me some more questions about that. But
man, give us a backstory on it. I think the whole, where it started, the mission, where they're at now,
sure.
Just kind of give us a 30,000 foot view of it.
Yeah, so there's a couple. The ministry starts in the West Coast, and there's a couple named Jim and Debbie Hogan, and they had kind of seen the devastation of people in ministry, and because of that, they just felt led to start something they actually called Standing Stone Ranch. They had a log cabin out in Colorado on I think the Navajo River or whatever, I think it's what it's called. Beautiful place, but they would just have people in ministry, husbands and wives, come out there for a season of time just to get health, to get healing, to get whatever they needed. Saw that was something that could be maybe expanded, and so they started reaching out to people across the United States that they knew that maybe had retreat centers or places that could keep happening, and it was kind of birthed from there. But then about several years later, I think around 2002 or so, they began to realize, hey, we need more than just retreats. We need some one-on-one individual care of somebody like a Michael Murray shepherding and caring for someone who is in ministry. And so Standing Stone Ministry was birthed from that. And so the idea was to provide safe and confidential care to those who serve in ministry, so that shepherds are being shepherded, so to speak, and being cared for. And that's the crux of it. The thing that makes us maybe different from a lot of other ministry organizations who do something similar to this, and there probably are some out there like us as well, but we are not fee-based. So ministers who come and sit down in front of me don't have to pull out their wallet at the end and pay for that session.
That's awesome.
We raise our own support for salary, and by doing that, ministers never have to have a financial burden in regards to that, which they're already under stress as it is. So they're coming to try to relieve that. The last thing they want to be doing is paying a bunch of money out to try to do that too. So that's kind of an overview from a 30,000 foot view of how it kind of works.
So how can people support you?
Well, I think there's a number of ways. Let me start with the non-financial part. Any introductions that I can get to people in this town or in this local area who serve in ministry, I don't have to proselyte those ministers, but just to have a chance to say, hey, I'm Michael Murray. This is the ministry I'm a part of. It is for people like you, but I'm just happy to meet you and and build a relationship with you. And if there's anything I can do for you. So that's one way, is just to connect me. Many people in this town, this area, have ministers that they know. And let me stop here and say too, Trent, it's not just church ministry. It can be parachurch organizations like FCA, even addiction recovery ministries. I care for a guy even now still who has been a part of that before, who's in leadership there. That's awesome. The second way, which is a pretty cliche way you'd probably say, is prayer. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think knowing that I'm prayed for when I'm meeting with people, knowing that I'm prayed for as I'm taking care of my family and things like that. I mean, who's going to turn down that unless they just don't want it? But and then of course the other way is this, that we live off the generous support of people to pay our bills and our expenses, to take care of those that we care for, and that is how I live. Which is that's another day for another story, a faith step of, because that's kind of the thing that maybe almost kept me from doing it. I just wasn't going to do that. But I will say this, the faithfulness of people and the faithfulness of God with people has been overwhelming to me. I could sit here all day and just tell you stories of people that have come on board and supported, and we're still trying to do that, And so that's the way this ministry keeps going on an individual and a global basis, I guess, is that's happening, that people are buying into that and giving to it. So
that's awesome, man. That's really awesome. I think, do you care to share some of those statistics? I mean, the one that I remember is something like 70% or at some form of depression.
Yeah, I think it's like I have it in my backpack here, but I think it's like 72 or 73% of pastors suffer from some sort of loneliness or depression on a regular basis.
That's crazy.
And you have to understand too, I think everybody would understand this. Ministers live in a glass house.
Mm-hmm.
Watch, they're always being seen as having to be perfect, which there is only one that's ever been on the earth that was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's also just that you get that persona of where you're up in front of people, you're around a bunch of people, so therefore you've got lots of people in your life, but really it's a lot more surface than you'd realize.
Mm-hmm.
And they stand up to maybe give a sermon or a talk or a message, or maybe they lead a Bible study on a campus, and so you're thinking, well, they're all good because they've got lots of people they know and lots of friends, but it's not all that it's cracked up to be when the lights go off. Everybody leaves the church or leaves the organization, and you don't have those 3 or 4 or 5 guys or girls that you know of that you can hang out with and spend time with, but also be vulnerable and deep with and be real and raw with.
Sure.
I think the concern always is twofold. Hey, what are people going to think of me if they know this about me, that I'm struggling with this, or I'm having, and then what's going to happen to me in my position if people know? And so those are very real things. And so it keeps people kind of at a arm's distance sometimes. And that's how I was. So I know that. So I hope that helps a little bit on some of that.
I mean, that's staggering.
It is staggering.
7 something out of 10, literally depression, feeling lonely. I mean, that breaks my heart, honestly.
Yeah.
It
can be an isolation place. Now, again, on the flip side of that, part of our journey to get ministers into health is that they can realize it is a safe. There are people that are safe and trustworthy.
Right.
Not just even me caring for you, but there's other people, maybe within your sphere of influence, maybe outside of your sphere of influence, and there are people that can be safe and so that you don't have to live in that loneliness, isolation, depression mode. So
that's great. I think the work, the tagline here is always bring a light to what's going right. So that's first of all, addressing that need, a need at that, magnitude, and then also having resources, having the services that y'all provide amongst other things. I mean, that's a great example of everything we're about. So just huge, anything we can do. I just want to reiterate, like, we can do this on a pretty consistent basis, give updates, give success stories, share testimonials, all the above. It's just kind of landed on my heart. We do the 1200 Club, shameless plug. We're looking for, individuals, businesses, even nonprofits to, come in once a month, do studio time, shoot content to promote what they're doing. I'd like to offer that as just something we'll have standing stone as a member of the 1200 Club. That'll obviously be a donation to you, just to have consistent, we can do this, once a month, just to kind of keep the content coming, keep the stories going, just raising awareness for what y'all are doing, because I think, again, it's just a great fit for what we're about. So definitely wanted to make that official. So if you accept, of course.
I wasn't aware that was going to be an official thing, but I'm humbled and honored to be a part of that. Yeah, I'll do a shameless plug to you. I appreciate. I remember when this first started, the Spread the Positive. I love the name. I love the concept. That's one of the reasons why I don't watch the news very much, because every time I watch the news, it's depressing and it's always negative stories. And the fact that you're doing positive things in our community is, I don't know, just hats off to you. I love your heart in that. And I love the we need more of that.
Absolutely, really, man. So. No, I appreciate that. I always say the news is everything that went wrong that day. So we're going to, whatever counter we can be to that, just to be able to showcase some stuff that is working, is making a positive impact. That's been, the mission for over 12 years now, which is wild. But I agree. There's definitely room to really celebrate stuff that's working. And this is one of those things that really spoke to me, spoke to, just the need. I always think when there's a need of that capacity, like it's on us to, take the time and put some of the resources we have behind good causes like that. So pumped to have Standing Stone.
Yeah,
Standing
man.
Stone as an official member of the STP 1200 Club.
I'm pumped to know that I'm a member now.
Yeah,
Membership has its privileges, right? Is that correct?
It sure does,
what the
man.
commercial used to say, I think?
It sure does, man. But yeah, I think just kind of landed on my heart as we're doing this. I'm like, man, that's an easy one, and it'll be great. We can do little commercials, whatever we can do, just to raise awareness, and got some shows that this would be a great fit for. So yeah, that's a no-brainer. So 1200 Club, Standing Stone. We got another one. So pumped to have you, man.
I feel more important than when I came in here today. I don't know what that means, but that's good. So.
I love it. Well, let's talk success. Let's talk, some of the stuff that you're somewhat new to this role, but you've been doing it for a while now, and I know you've already got a few testimonials that you shared with me that were super powerful, so talk to us about some of the success stories.
Yeah. And I have to be a little bit careful,
right, yeah.
Because we stay confidential, but obviously I can share stories without names.
There you go. Perfect.
I remember there was a guy that I knew from here that, was in Murfreesboro that I was friends with, and he went into ministry and was here in Murfreesboro for a little bit, then went to Cincinnati, and then was in West Tennessee, and that's how we kind of reconnected. But he was having a real tough time at the place he was serving. Leadership there was not great, and he was serving on staff with a guy there that they were friends, and he was on his way out. And but he told his friend, he said, you need to contact Michael and talk to him, and he didn't. He wouldn't. I think he left my name and number on his desk, but he reached a crisis of belief and a crisis of faith in his own life one day, and the epiphany was, I'm going back to serve at my church, or I'm chunking everything, maybe even, just some deep, dark stuff that
Sure.
You're thinking, man, But he does go back to his church that day, and he
snags a card,
sees my name and number on the desk, and goes, all right, what I got to lose, and. And so 2.5 years later, we're still meeting on a regular basis.
Love that.
He found health. He found kind of I will say this, he found new life in the fact that he actually planted and started a church called New Life.
Let's go.
And so because of that, our relationship, he calls me his pastor. That's kind of a strong statement, probably.
I love that.
But that's the relationship that we have, and he realized that in many ways that saved his life.
Wow.
And you don't always, I guess, Trent, in what you do and what I do, you want to make an impact, you want to make a difference, you want to lay your head on your pillow at night and believe, hey, I'm doing something that matters. But you don't always know.
Sure.
You don't always get that feedback, but in that moment, I got that feedback. And
that's powerful.
There's another guy that we met at a funeral home of a good friend of mine who had passed away.
Oh, wow.
That he knew his brother. Anyway, we just happened to cross paths at the visitation that night, and at the funeral home. Hey, how you doing? We're making small talk. He goes, what are you up to now? And I go, well, it's funny. I do something that,
could probably help you.
Could benefit you. And his face, I remember his face getting real stoic, and he just said, I'm going to call you next week.
Wow.
And so it really did. And so we've been meeting now for over a couple of years now too.
Man, that's awesome.
And he said, when I had my recent health, which
right.
we didn't get to talk about that, but when I had some health issues recently, he talked about how he said to me, he said, I need to get you better because I've missed us meeting together and stuff like that. So you hear stories like that and you think, it's so necessary to just companionship for nothing else. Sometimes I meet with people, Trent, and there's not crisis going on. It's just we're catching up. We're asking what's been going on, but there's always something meaningful that happens in those meetings because there's always life going on, whether it's family, whether it's church stuff, whether it's ministry stuff. So that's a couple of stories that I would share. I think the thing I would also say is the collision between me and meeting people for the first time, and then what ensues from that is really powerful, because the more we get to know each other, the more things get uncovered, the more things get talked about, because you're building trust and you're building relationship there. So I think that's what's been incredible is that I consider these people friends, not clients,
Sure.
not sessions, not projects to work on.
Right.
They're actual friends of mine now that I enjoy genuinely spending time with.
Yeah.
So,
Man, I bet that's awesome. Just I mean, those are real people.
yeah.
Those are real people.
Well,
that
my
have
wife
real
doesn't know
issues,
how I can do it. She says, I'd go crazy doing what you do all day long. I said, yeah, but that's why you do what you do, and I
Sure.
do what I do. Not everybody can do what everybody does, but
Facts.
But I would say that I was put on this earth to do what I do. I really do. Not pat myself on the back at all by saying this, but I have been gifted to have relational skills and to be able to sit in front of people. I'm still always working on my listening skills. That's always a challenge.
I hear that, man.
But yeah, I think so. So it's been awesome. And then the ministry keeps growing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually a co-trainer now with the ministry.
Wow.
So
Okay.
next month we'll have a group of people coming into our ministry to do a 4-day training that I get to actually co-lead, which I told them, I said, I guess this is the last stop for them. If they want to get out of it, they'll meet with me for a week and then realize, okay, if I can get past Michael Murray, I'm in.
There you go.
I'm in. I made
That's
the cut.
huge,
So,
man. Congrats.
yeah, it's pretty fun. It's been very rewarding to be able to invest in people on the front end of it. So.
Yeah. Man, that's cool. So that starts next month?
Well,
Or
I
kind of been
did
doing it?
one last fall. We have 2 a year in this area, so we have one in April, and then we'll have one in October. So yeah, next month we'll do one for the springtime, and then another. And people are always applying for the ministry. They're always going through interview process, but they get to a place where they do the training, which is the last stop before they're launched into being a part of things. So,
That's super cool.
yeah.
Well, congrats on that, man. That sounds like a pretty big step.
It's a big step. And there's a guy in town named Lo Norris. I'll give him a shout out because he's the director of the training of our ministry. Great guy. We were very good friends, and he's the one that asked me to be a part of it. And I had to look and see, can I do this? Should I do this? All the things that come with that. So, but yeah. So I'm getting to be a little bit on the front end, which is kind of cool because I didn't have all that we have now 5 years ago when
Sure.
I kind of walked into it. So
Dang, it's been 5 years.
it's been it's 5 years. February is when I started in the ministry. Started drawing support later on that year, so
That's awesome. That is really awesome, man. What else? What else can we cover?
Well, I will tell you too a few other things that the ministry does. We still do the retreats
Okay.
for people in ministry. I think there is a financial cost to the people coming to the retreat, but they again raise that support, get people to donate money for that, to let them go without a cost for them. We also can go into organizations and ministries and educate their boards and our leadership about how to care for people in ministry on their teams and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a lot of things like that, but we try to stay pretty simple to our approach because it's more about the individual relationships we're building and stuff like that and shepherding. So
That's awesome. When are some of those retreats?
well, I don't know that there are different times of the year. I'm not a part of that part of the ministry. Like we have actually a husband and wife who are retreat shepherd leaders, so they kind of
Steer that ship.
Yeah. And what our job as shepherds is like if I had a couple I was caring for, an individual who I knew probably needed to do that, and
Gotcha.
I'm gonna point them in that direction.
Sure.
And stuff like that because
Cool.
we want them to maybe they need to get time away to have some time like that.
We all need that for sure.
Yeah.
All need that for sure. And you can call Abundant Travel if you
You can call Abundant Travel if you need to get away on your vacation. Shameless plug to my wife today. on that.
Abundant Travel. They're yes. All man, I love that little nucleus of people. Shouts to Autumn and Brittany and Susan, the whole squad.
Yeah.
They're-
She's building quite a good little team there. It's really been cool to watch. I stay out of most of that, Trent, honestly, but I do pack my bag when it's
Yeah,
time to go.
absolutely.
I mean, if
The
there's
perks.
if there's a perk I can get, I'm going to go with it. So
the perks are pretty strong in that circle. not gonna say I'm jealous, but I'm pretty jealous sometimes.
Well, you should be.
Yeah, I should. Yeah, I've seen where y'all go. But yeah, they kill it over there. So if you do need a little retreat, shout out to, or be sure to reach out to Abundant Travel here in Murfreesboro. They're the best around for all things travel. Anyway, anywho, so the retreats, you're still doing the retreats. We got the one-on-one stuff, and again, just for people that are interested in learning more and wanting to support you in particular. I know we said prayer and people, and then obviously, the financial side of things. What are some of those? I know people don't always love the numbers stuff, but just if people do want to get involved and really kind of do the biggest work to keep your lights on, how can they do that?
Yeah, I think if you're I guess you're talking about the financial side of things. Obviously monthly reoccurring giving is what keeps most nonprofit ministries happening. I can shout out to all the ones out there. They would probably say that safely, that if that's regularly coming in. Obviously, there are people who either don't feel comfortable doing that, or B, don't want to do it that way. Obviously, single gifts once a year, single gifts every quarter, whatever it is you want to do in regards to that. Obviously, the ongoing basis keeps the lights on, so to speak, with that. So we had been at the start of the year with cost of living, inflation, all that kind of stuff going on. We've been trying to raise a couple of more $1,000 a month of monthly recurring giving, just to keep doing what we're doing. Yeah. So that's some real hard numbers for us. We had some of that come in. We don't have all of it in yet. And it will continue to be a need as time goes on, as the needs increase and stuff like that too. So I hope that it explains that a little bit.
We'll have links and stuff. You got direct to Michael's page on Standing Stone to make those donations and get those numbers up. So we'll definitely have all that in the show notes. What are you excited about? I mean, you mentioned the training, mentioned retreats, mentioned just the day-to-day.
Yeah, I'll say this too. Next month also, before I do the training, we have the good thing about Standing Stone Ministry that I love is that they don't just want us to be caring for people. They want us also to be healthy ourselves and cared for as well.
That's huge.
So I just got off the phone this morning in a little, what's called a little cohort that I meet with some guys in the ministry. We come together a couple of times a month just for encouragement, just to share what's going on in our lives. So we're kind of being poured into. So next month we're going to be out in Texas at Southwestern Seminary. I think that's where it is, for a Southern region get together of all the people that are in the ministry of Standing Stone in this area. We're going to kind of come in the South area. We're going to kind of come together for a few days.
That's awesome.
Just for encouragement, training. And really, here's what's funny about that, Trent, is most of us don't see each other face to face very much.
Right.
It's through team calls or Zoom calls. Yeah. So to come together in person is always life-giving.
Absolutely.
So that's coming up next month. I forgot that I'm doing that before I do the training. I got a busy April, Trent.
You got busy April, man. Congrats.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, those in-person things, just the energy and feeling people's passion, man. That's huge. So pumped for you for that. That'll be really cool.
It'll be fun. Yeah, it'll be.
We'll have to do a little recap.
Oh that. Yeah,
there we go.
I may have some stories. Who knows?
April session already booked, man. We got a.
I got the 1200 Club April session. I feel like things are happening.
Yeah, man. That's what we do. We just try little things here and there, but we got the recap coming. So y'all stay tuned for the April 1200 session for Standing Stone. That'll be good stuff. Yeah, man. I'm just again. I just want to thank you for the work you're doing. And I think it's a super notable cause, and that's obviously what we're here to do is, bring light to these things, man. So really, truly appreciate that. And just, again, the numbers that you shared with me when we met, it was just, man, it's there's a huge need. There's a huge need for this, for our people that are doing the Lord's work.
Yeah,
literally doing the Lord's work. So
for sure,
being able to support them and have these resources available to them is something that needs more awareness and needs more, just support in general. So it's an honor to be a small token in that pond. But I guess lastly, before we kind of do some of the closing questions, just where can people find you? Where can people find Standing Stone and all that?
Well, I'll say this on the podcast, and obviously, I guess you said they'll be in the show notes, but they're usually what I do when I meet with people or when people are showing interest in wanting to financially be a part of what we're doing is I'll send two things to them or even right there on the spot if they
Sure.
want. One is the website to the ministry. I think that's always important for people to look at what the ministry is about themselves and see if it's something that they feel led to be a part of. I mean, I think never do we want to coerce, guilt or
Right.
manipulate into that.
No.
We want it to be something that you feel led to do. So that, and then I have my own personal link that if you click on that, even on you can use your phone or whatever, you can set up your own monthly reoccurring or whatever gifts you want to give. That way, it's pretty easy. It's
Right.
pretty. It's not doesn't take a lot of time or effort. I can even walk you through it right there in person if
Sure.
you want to. But obviously, I live in the area here. My phone number, email, I can give all that out.
Sure.
I mean, in the show notes. A lot of what I want to do is just set up times to meet with people and talk about it and share with it. I mean, if they watch the podcast today, they know probably as much about it as they need to, but
Right.
there may be other things they want to talk about too with it. So
Cool.
hopefully that helps you with
Yeah, totally.
things.
Do you send that presentation out?
I can. If I'm being honest, I'll probably have to have my wife figure out how that works. Sending that out. She's my IT girl.
Yeah,
some
feel
stuff.
that.
But I do have a presentation that we put together through Canva, and
It's really
when I
good.
meet with people, I share with people that way. It's just a lot more orderly, and it allows people to
Feel like that'd
see things. So.
be a good tool, and I know Miss Autumn can handle that, no problem. That's
She can.
another link, but or just an attachment.
Right.
I might be able to help you with that too.
Yeah, I can show it to you in a little bit. We can see. But.
Yeah. Well, man, I always ask a couple of closing questions that are STP podcast signatures. You've been familiar with STP for a while. Who's someone in your life outside directly affiliated with what I'm doing? Who's somebody in your life that really lives out the mission to spread the positive?
It's a great question. Man, there's so many.
I love that. That's what I'm going for. You can have more than one.
Okay. Well, I mean, this gets me in no trouble at all, and it probably scores me extra points. I'm going to give a shout to my wife first. I've never met somebody who just always has that perspective, and her team is that way too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know we've talked about abundant travel, so I probably need to not keep talking about them, but I love her perspective. I love how she always has that positive side.
That's it.
Even when I don't, sometimes she'll
Mm-hmm.
go, "Well, have you ever thought about this or thought about that?" I think about people like Rachel Alberson.
Yep.
I think about people like Amanda Howe.
Yep.
Those kind of people come to mind who are always out there trying to be positive and make a difference in the community. But I say those two names because they both kind of had an impact on me.
Yep.
I'm trying to think when you put me on the spot with that now.
Hey,
I can't
come
think
on.
of any names, of course. But there's, I think about a guy named Mike Courtney who's at Branches Counseling. I think he and his ministry there are so great for our community and have helped so many people. I'm sure there's other counseling places
Sure.
in the town, but that's one that steps out because it personally impacted me as well. Let's see. I think about people like the Chamber and
Yeah.
Kelly Beam.
There you go.
And people like that who, I mean, our town is not the same town without things like that going on. And then there's all these networking groups. I'm a part of one myself called Ring that meets on Tuesday. Shout out to
Shout
Ring.
to the Ring. fam. There's some
we
good people in there.
we're a family there,
Yeah.
and so you get those networking and as we've said, two are better than one, as Ecclesiastes says. So the more that we cooperate and work together, the more we do get accomplished. And I think that's the strength of our city and of our area is that we have people that will work together on things,
Yep.
and do things and accomplish things. So, but there's so many nonprofit ministries out there. There's Endure Athletics. There's Isaiah House. I'm not saying Isaiah 117
There you
House.
go.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's all kinds of other nonprofits that are out there. There's so I mean, then you got the veterans, the military. I mean, it's all. I'm rambling now.
No, that's good.
But
That's what I'm talking about. I
But
love
there's
that.
I'll just say this. I always feel very, very encouraged by the people that I know in this community who are making a difference and doing things. We talked about Dave a while ago. I mean, he turned Steak and Shake around to a place that a lot of people probably didn't want to go to for a while. And it's a thriving business, and
what does he say? We clean the bathrooms.
He's cleaned the bathrooms. He's got the floors aren't sticky. I mean, it's pretty cool. So,
so that's
I guess that's a kind of a generalization. I gave some specific names, but I love living here. I love having a place to call home, and it's it.
I love that. That's a great answer, man. A lot of great people mentioned there, and yeah. That's solid. Last thing, always like to wrap up with this, called the Grateful For. 4 things you're most grateful for right now. What you got?
4 things I'm most grateful for. Well, obviously my faith and my Lord. That's number 1 always. I can't, I've given too many shout outs, but obviously
that's good.
My family, my wife, my kids, 2 grandkids.
Man, congrats.
That makes me feel old, but still grateful. I'm grateful for my church ministry and local community of people. And then honestly, I have to say today, I'm grateful for my health.
Yes,
there was a season last month where that was in jeopardy a little bit.
Yeah.
But those 4 things always stand out to me. What I didn't mention was material things. I didn't mention even things like that because those things just are here and gone sometimes before we know it. So, but those 4 things stand out to me for sure.
That's beautiful. Well, Michael, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate the work you do. Just your love for people in general, man. It's you're a great friend, and you've done a lot personally for me without even knowing it. So, actually, you probably know it. I shouldn't say that, but you're an inspiration, man. Like you really walk your talk. You live it out, and the work you're doing with Standing Stones is something that needs to be celebrated and needs to be supported. So thank you for everything you do. Thank you for being on. As mentioned, we'll have everything in the show notes. How you can support, how you can get involved with Standing Stones, people that can be introduced to Michael, all the above. But man, we'll wrap this one up, and thank you again for everything. Well, I appreciate you having me on, man. It's seriously, it's been an honor to be a part of it. Absolutely. We'll see you on the next one, April 1200 Club with Standing Stone coming soon. So y'all stay tuned. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Spread the Positive podcast. For more information about all the things we got going here at Spread the Positive, please check us out, spreadthepositive.net. Get involved with our underwriting, advertising, sponsorship program, start a podcast, or if you just want to support the mission, reach out on spreadthepositive.net or any of our social media handles at Spread the Positive. Look forward to connecting with y'all and giving y'all another fire episode on the next one. Thank you, and we will see you then. Let's go.